All right. Hi.
Hi.
Um, Today we're doing something different, sort of,
Yes.
kind
Kind of.
of, kind of.
Yeah.
We're giving you recommendations on things you should watch while you wait for GMMTV 2025 shows that haven't come out yet.
Yes. Because there are a few that they announced last year before the 2026 announcements that still haven't aired
Mm-hmm.
and don't really have an air date yet. So
Mm-hmm.
if you had one that you're like, I really wanted to see that, I'm waiting for it, these should tide you over a little bit until
Maybe sort
until
of.
the shows get there.
Exactly. Yeah, because they always put out a lot of shows.
Mhm.
They hint at and tease us with like way too many, and then you wait for them all to come out. So we have, I think, five that are still
Yes.
not released. So we'll give you our recommendations. And our first one is Girl Rules. Um,
Yes.
so that's as an ex-girlfriend returns, a group of queer friends descend into chaos as their relationships get tested in various ways, which, typical queer friend group, people dating people, secretly liking people, secretly not liking people, all the things.
This one looks very dramatic too.
Yeah,
And so I'm very here for it.
it looks like a lot. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, first recommendation, because if you're here for the mess, only friends will give you mess. Essentially,
Mhm.
queer friends group, people dating people, people not liking people, secrets, some betrayal, backstabbing, the whole university students being university students.
Yes. Queer friend groups being messy queer friend groups.
Yes. And it's an ensemble cast, which is similar to what Girl Rules will be. So you get lots of different couples and people and situations all mixed up.
And the second season of Only Friends, I know the trailer's out, which means by the time we put this video up, it will be airing, possibly partially
Maybe.
aired.
Yeah.
So that would give you a lot of content to watch, a lot of like messy queers being messy to have like season one and Dream On.
I mean, season two might be even more messy because they're theater gays. So like,
Oh God, yeah.
well, that's even a whole other level.
Yeah, I mean you had like dramatic bar gays in the first season, but I feel like theater gays are another level
Yeah.
of like queer drama.
Yeah, exactly.
I think if you're watching the show specifically for the leading ladies who are in it, because it does have most of like the the like lead women from GMMTV, like Milk Love and um Size and people like that. If you're a fan of them, then I would suggest to watch Ploy's Yearbook. It's also an ensemble cast. It's not queer, but the acting and the relationships of the cast are very enjoyable. And if you also watch a lot of GMMTV BLs, then you'll see a lot of familiar faces on that front too, because you've got Jung, you've got, oh my goodness, I'm trying to think of everyone who's in it. Earth is in it. You've got a lot of the BL leading men as well as the GMMTV leading ladies. So if you really are wanting to watch it because you love the stars who are in it, Ploy's Yearbook is a good choice.
Mhm.
It's also very messy.
We just like mess,
We do
honest.
like mess.
My next recommendation is also queer friend group and university mess. Except this is a little on the darker side, so like check content warnings before you go into this one, but that's Playboy. Um, Essentially we have a group of friends, someone goes missing, someone returns, things get messy, lots of relationships and backstabbing and secrets. So if you like the mess, this is a good one for mess.
If you specifically want messy lesbians, I recommend The L Word. It's a little deeper cut and it's sometimes harder to find online. And I can't vouch for the whole show because my experience watching it was like largely watching it muted with my finger on the channel button when I was younger until we stopped paying for the network that it was on. But I do remember it being very queer and very messy and having some super complicated women loving women relationships that I think would fit very well with the vibe of Girl Rules if you're waiting for it.
Hmm. Okay, on to the
So
next one.
that gives you four shows to watch while you wait for Girl Rules.
Yeah, four shows, lots of mess, lots of people making
So messy.
questionable decisions.
Yes. So the next one that we are waiting for is Love You Teacher. In that, Pobmek is an elementary school teacher, but he has zero tolerance for kids at all. He only decided on this career to follow his boyfriend Solar, who is a passionate teacher that absolutely enjoys working with kids and adores it. But Solar has a medical emergency that leads to amnesia and age regression. And Pobmek has to deal with his adult boyfriend, sometimes lapsing into the mentality of a 7-year-old, and learn how to live with his childlike wonder and the messes and chaos that ensue with living with a 7-year-old trapped in an adult body, who's also sometimes his adult boyfriend. I would say if you're a big fan of Perth Santa being cute together, which is what this show promises, Perfect 10-liners is the way to go. You get a really long arc of the two of them being a cute couple, and it's a really fun show that's very much worth watching. It has 30 episodes following three different couples, and you can just watch the Perth Santa arc on its own, but all 30 episodes are good and all three couples are really fun to follow. So you would have plenty of content with these two and others while you wait for the show to air.
Mhm. Yeah, 30 is a lot of episodes. You got lots of content while you
Yes.
wait.
Yes.
My recommendation is for people who like teachers and an opposites attract kind of situation. And that's A Tale of a Thousand Stars, which is an Earth Mix series. And essentially it's, you know, someone has a like medical emergency, so kind of similar in that sense, but they end up going to like a rural small town to be like a volunteer teacher. And they meet the village chief and, you know, gorgeous scenery, children meddling and getting in the way of things, you know, opposites sort of feeling each other out. It's very cute. It's one of my favorite Earth Mix series. It's great. Highly recommend.
Um, I also have a Teachers in Love rec. Boys in Love has the sweetest ever subplot that features two high school teachers, and the show is worth watching for their romance alone. But I also think if you're in it for like childlike wonder, the teenagers exploring their first relationships in Boys in Love is also very good and kind of has that sense of like wonder and nervousness and everything else that I think comes along with like adults working with children who have that like awe about the world in a lot of ways. Um, so I think that if you like the idea of Love You Teacher, you'll like Boys in Love for both of those reasons.
Mhm. It's my next one is actually like a teacher, sort of teacher school setting. And that's Love Class 2. And it's a university setting, but we have like teaching assistants and students and their relationships and, you know, friend groups. And we follow a few different couples and how they get together and deal with being in university together.
I also think if you do like GMMTV's current obsession with amnesia plots, which they seem to have a lot coming of
Hmm.
that in 2026 also, That summer is a really good pick. Winnie and Satang are very cute together, and it's another story where amnesia causes a lot of problems for the lead characters. You don't have age regression as a characteristic, but you do have a lot of amnesia throwing a wrench into everything that happens in a lot of fun ways.
I need to watch that one because it looks fun and also like
Yeah.
summery, like warm
Yes.
summery vibes, which I think is needed since we are filming on a very wintry day.
Yes. Both are super wintry right now. Ugh.
Okay, our next one is Woo, which is about Pete, who is dealing with some massive difficulties in life, and he seeks out a fortune teller to change his fortune, but instead he finds Woo, and they kind of have a weird mystical connection happening that kind of gets them stuck together. Okay, so mine is kind of related to the idea of like the strings of fate, because we see in the trailer that something's going on with some strings of fate for them, and that is Century of Love. And it's, this guy who is essentially waiting a century to find his love, and there's this whole idea of the strings of fate tying him to whoever that person's going to be, and he doesn't know when they're going to show up or how, and we watch kind of that unfold as he realizes that his love is now a man.
My goodness. I also have a string of fate storytelling. I would suggest Until We Meet Again. It is very dark, so be aware of the content warnings for this one, but it is very much about a string of fate and how that can transcend multiple lifetimes.
Not String of Fate, but still mystical. We have Cupid's Last Wish, which is like a road trip vibe, but it's body swapping and some magical things happening there. So if you like the like mystical, magical, like, otherworldly things are involved in what's happening to these characters, that's a good choice.
I also have a mystical, magical kind of choice. If you want to see something that's more of a mystical change of fate, I recommend Two Worlds. In it, the main character falls in a pond at just the right time, and it changes the past and shifts the future and alters what he knows about the relationships with the people around him, making enemies lovers and lovers potentially enemies.
Very mystical.
Yes.
My last one for this is not mystical, but it falls into kind of the like brotherhood, but also like the action, because in the trailer for Woo, we get some fighting thugs happening. So that's High and Low, The Worst Ex, which is in the High and Low franchise, but it follows high school students and like their kind of rivalry with each other. And we see, the bonds of brotherhood and a lot of punching.
Nice. And also High and Low is kind of a good choice because GMMTV is doing a High and Low spinoff adaptation, something
Something. They're doing
in
something related
2026.
to, yeah, they're doing something related to High and Low. So you can get in on the franchise now. The Worst X is not the first one, but it's a good intro.
Yeah. Um, I also have more about bromance specifically, and since Woo has Sky and Nani in it, I recommend High School Frenemy, which is also a Sky Nani bromance. These two typically do bromances, which is what I'm expecting Woo will be, even with the String of Fate appearing. So if you want a feel for what a bromance between these two will be like, if you're like more familiar with GMMTV's BLs, I think that's a good introduction.
All right. Next, we have our very exciting religious trauma series, and that's Ticket to
Like me.
Heaven. So we have devoted Catholic. Tenrock is thrown off course when Bart, a non-believer and an orphan, comes to the seminary school and is kind of forcing him to confront his feelings and reconciling with his faith, which already is like, oh, like even without it being out yet. Um, so these recommendations might be a little more painful.
Yes. As someone who really started to come to terms with my queerness in a religious college setting where being queer was forbidden, I really think this one's gonna hit hard for me.
I think so. We'll start off really easy for everybody with a short film. So this is a Korean short film called Original Sin. And I mean, it's kind of what you take it. We have characters in a religious setting. They meet in church and feelings happen, things happen, and then other things happen.
I like how you say we're starting off easy, but honestly, that one had me in tears, even in just like 30 minutes.
Okay, it's easy because it's short. You don't have to spend a lot of time in your pain. It's only 30 minutes of pain. That's why it's
It's like a
easy.
Band-Aid rip.
Yeah, just rip it off, get into the pain, and then move on to the next one.
Yes. If you want a little bit longer pain and a painful, heartbreaking romance that has a touch of forbidden love, I recommend Never Let Me Go. It's got Pond and Puin and is a bodyguard boss romance between two teenagers. So it's very like off limits, but also very painful and heartbreaking. Just check the content warnings before you watch it.
Yeah. Um, Okay, my next one is a little less, marginally less heartbreaking, I would say, than the others. And that's At the End of the World with You, which is kind of forced proximity, battling with, inner feelings, past issues, things that happened in the past, and also the potential end of the world at the same time. So, you can guess how uh painful that one might be.
Well, as we're continuing the pain, I guess, if you like the intense Catholic imagery and the 1990s setting that Ticket to Heaven has, and forbidden and heartbreaking moments, I recommend the 1990s Baz Luhrmann's Romeo and Juliet. It might not be gay, but it definitely gives camp queer vibes in many of the characters. And it does have the forbidden nature, and it's in the 1990s, and it's very, very Catholic imagery, just like Ticket to Heaven.
Uh, okay. This one is probably, in my opinion, the most heartbreaking. And that's Once Again, which is a Korean series about a man who's been kind of dealing with, like, I would say regret and guilt for a very long time. And he goes back to his hometown and back to like an old school or dorm that's going to be like demolished eventually. And he kind of wants to figure out what's happening, figure out his feelings, possibly see if he can do anything for his situation. And there's some time travel-y stuff, there's some feelings, there's some very sad moments. Bring tissues because I sobbed watching this one. Like every episode I was crying. So if you want the like heartbreak and dealing with trauma and overcoming some things, this is a good choice.
Literally just listening to you talk about it makes me want to put my fingers in my ears and be like la 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 because just like hearing about it I'm like I'm gonna cry. It's literally been like a year since I watched it and still it just like I see the cover while scrolling and I'm like, "Oh, it hurts."
It hurts a lot.
I'm going to give you some happier recommendations. If you like Gemini Fourth, who are the stars of Ticket to Heaven, and you want more of them, My School President and the Thai adaptation of My Love Mix-Up have them as leads. And My Love Mix-Up especially is way less painful and way less tragic, but you still get to see Gemini Fourth being cute together. So check those out instead if you can't deal with the pain all the time.
Yeah.
Our last one, and I will put the caveat of we know that Scarlet Heart is not airing yet, but they have continued talking about that one into 2026 and giving updates. So we're not going to tell you what to watch while you wait for Scarlet Heart. We're just going to wrap it up with like series that we know are coming soon from 2025. And we're going to wrap it up with A Dog in a Plane. In this, flight attendant Knit encounters an EMT named Toto and his chaotic trio of friends. Their similar bags get swapped at the airport, and Toto and his friends decide that one night out with the flight attendant's super expensive clothes can't cause too much harm. But then the clothing gets stolen, and Toto can't pay him back, so he has to do work for Knit to pay him back. And that includes finding out if his boyfriend is cheating. But then he gets cross-bribed by the boyfriend as well and has to decide if his loyalty is to the money he desperately needs or to Knit and the feelings he's starting to get for him.
The drama.
Um, it is very much drama. If you want more Tae chaos, then you need to go with Peaceful Property, which is a ghost hunting show and features Tae. This one is more of a bromance plot, not a romance, but it definitely is giving the same kind of energy in a lot of ways.
Hmm. Mine is also very chaotic in a slightly different way, but still chaotic. And that's Mr. Unlucky has no choice but to kiss. And
Love that one.
we follow one very, very unlucky character and one very lucky character, and they are very much opposites in life as a whole, and the chaos that their luck creates.
It's wonderful. I love that one so much. If you also want opposites attract romance that has chaos and twists and secrets to spill, Cherry Magic is perfect. It is, I especially recommend the Japanese live action. In it, you have a character who becomes a wizard because he's still a virgin at 30 years old. And by becoming a wizard, I mean, anytime he touches someone, he can read their thoughts. And that means he finds out that his coworker is interested in him. So it gets kind of crazy from there.
Another kind of office, well, not office, but co-workers romance with some opposites attract, but also kind of like an enemies, not really, but sort of lovers to vibe. Rivals to lovers, I guess, would be Beloved in House I Do. And we follow this guy who works at a jewelry like making place, and they get a new boss, and the boss has a strict no relationships policy, so nobody is allowed to be in a relationship. So the coworkers kind of send this guy to figure out why that's a rule and break the rules and try and because his other coworkers already have relationships, but they don't get fired. So there's a whole thing about moving in together and figuring out these people and why are they like this?
If you also want an enemies to lovers plot with you owe me undertones, Semantic Error is a really good fit, and it's edited into a movie or a series, so you can kind of decide if you want to watch everything at once or have it broken into pieces. Um, but there's also a very good graphic novel adaptation that is perfect if you like want to read something as well, like while you wait. It's very dramatic. Um, I also have one more thing. If you love Tainu, you might also want to like get acquainted with their son, Polka-san. He has a single out, and you can also watch a lot of the Polka-san content that's available on GMMTV's Giggle Gang, which is their show featuring all of the GMMTV kids, which would be the mascots. Polka-san is half orca whale, half polar bear. And you can very much see the personality of both of his parents, Tae and Nu, in him, um, but also kind of get a lot of chaos. And it's very uplifting and silly and childlike after all of the heavier wrecks that we've given. So I don't know. I suggest looking up Polkason if you need something to heal your soul.
It's a good thing to heal your soul. Definitely a good option to be a palate cleanser.
Yes.
Okay, so you have lots of options of things to watch before these shows come out, and maybe you'll find something you like. You'll have lots to spend your time on since we gave you so many recommendations.
Yes. Which one of these five series are you most looking forward to? And do you think that we picked decent options for waiting? And also, what would you recommend we watch while we wait?
Ooh, yes. Give us recommendations while we wait. We definitely need more for the TBR list or to be watched list, I guess, not a
Yeah,
TBR.
TBW.
Yeah.
We'll take TBR next too. If you have something good to read that like fits the theme,
Yes.
let us know.
All right. See you next time.
Bye.
Bye.